AI being present in your business is completely different to AI actually working for your business. Most businesses have the first option, but fewer have gone through and actually realized the value of AI within their business. But the good news is this easily solved. By the end of this video, you know exactly how and where AI is making a difference in businesses at the moment, why most businesses haven't realized that, and how you can actually get some actionable advice to identify your high value opportunities to go after. Hey, my name's Alex, and I spent over 8 years in this space of AI and automation, with 6 of them being at Deloitte, working with some of the largest organizations in the world. And the pattern is consistent everywhere I look. Most businesses are actually on the switched on end. Someone's activated a Copilot license or turned on ChatGPT, and there might even be a chatbot sitting on a website that no one's particularly proud of. They've got some tools, they're using it here and there, but it's not actually making a major difference to their business. And the data really backs this up because a lot of organizations are using AI but not seeing some material value from it. But the businesses that have crossed from switching it on to embedding it and using it in their processes are starting to see real value from it. And the gap between the two is widening, it's not closing at all. So before we go into what's working, it's actually worth running through why most businesses are stuck, because once you identify the pattern, everything else makes sense. I consistently see 3 patterns coming up and they're all addressable. The first one is the tool without the strategy. Signing up for a particular tool because you see that it's popular, but after a couple of weeks, you don't really see any returns from it, concluding that AI doesn't work. But that's not an AI failure. The problem is there's no defined problem that we're actually solving for. There's no measure of success, and there's no plan for how we're going to use it in the future. AI and the technology that's built around it can't tell you what to do. It can only help you achieve specific outputs. The second one is actually automating or using AI in the wrong processes. AI doesn't fix broken processes, it only speeds it up. If your sales follow-up process doesn't have any consistency or SOP, standard operating procedure, it's just going to result in AI executing it inconsistently. If your customer data is disorganized, AI doesn't know where to look, what's the true source of data that it needs to reference when conversing or following up with a customer. The businesses actually getting the most out of AI take a step back first and ask themselves one important question: how should this actually work? Then they apply AI to that better version of the process and also standardize it. The third and most common one is also that no one owns it. Perhaps it's used by an enthusiastic, maybe junior person within the business, or left for a department to figure out on their own. This causes chaos across the businesses, doesn't coordinate different tools, leads to uncontrollable spend, and so much more. Businesses that actually have an owner who is accountable for that end result actually see significantly better outputs. Another thing to mention quickly as well is shadow AI. We're not going to cover it in depth in this video, we're going to have a completely different one in the future, but it's the term around the fact that AI is being used by many employees within businesses today, and the business hasn't approved it or secured it. And to be honest, it's more common than many business owners and leaders actually realize. So what does switched in businesses actually do differently to see results from AI? And it doesn't actually require a big team or a big budget to get the same outputs. Firstly, as we covered earlier on, they redesign before they automate. They don't look at an existing process and think, how do we add AI to it? They take a step back and look at, how can AI handle this part, or what should that process actually look like? The answer is usually simpler and better than what was there before, because not every process actually needs AI embedded into it to improve the outputs. And that potential redesign is where the value can actually sit. Next up, someone with real authority within the business actually owns it. It's not purely delegated to different departments or some of the more junior employees within a business. An owner or senior leader that uses it, talks about it, showcases different tools on the market, helps keep the business accountable for it. And when that's in place, then the whole organization embodies the same approach and starts to move around it. And then last but not least, and it may sound incredibly simple, but they do one thing properly before starting the next. The businesses that try to switch 5 things on at the same time normally end up not switching any on at all. What we want to do instead is actually analyze the processes, quantify it, pick the highest value opportunity, and then go after it one by one. We can also then use this potential saving to reinvest into our AI automation opportunities so that it can drive its own pipeline for investment into tools, into redesign, into expansion, and much, much more. That's how it can become self-funding in the future, but we touch on that in another video. So the advantages actually is organizational versus purely technical. You don't need to approach it by thinking, I have to have Claude, or actually knowing how the tech works in and out. What we need to do instead is have a really clear problem that we're going after, the right approach to tackle it, and having the accountability that surrounds it. So with that in mind, let's actually run through 4 quick examples showing in industry how it's actually going from having a tool switched on to actually having it switched in for the outcomes. First up is customer service, and this is where I see some of the fastest payback when it comes to AI. Think about the moment a potential customer or existing customer tries to get through to the business. They dial the number, no one picks up, they get angry, they complain, or if they're a new customer, they move on to the next business. That's potentially a lost customer, or it could even result in an industry fine if you don't respond back quick enough. And this is where AI can really help, because normally they're questions that can be dealt with in under 15 minutes, and they're typically low complexity and easy to resolve. So instead, we can hand them over to AI to deal with, and industry reports are already showing this. For every $1 you invest into customer service AI use cases, you can see potentially $3.50 returned. And the best are doing this significantly better. So it's something you definitely need to look at. You're even able to return your investment within a matter of months and weeks versus the years that it may have taken in the past. Response times are now able to drop from hours to minutes, and we can see almost nearly half of customer queries and questions coming through actually being entirely resolved with AI. And on the phone side, AI can now handle incoming phone calls, book appointments, answer questions, as well as deal with opted-in outbound phone calls as well to qualify customers, do some screening questions, and much, much more. And to be honest, that technology is actually genuinely ready to be used by every organization. Imagine you run a 20 to 100 person business, the phone rings, no one answers because they're busy delivering work. That's potentially a lost customer. Now these systems can run 24/7, 365. They don't get involved in office drama, sick days, or anything like this. Second is sales, and this is where the numbers may actually sound a bit uncomfortable if you're not using it already. The businesses that have actually integrated and switched in AI to their sales processes are not only doing things faster, they're closing more leads, they're forecasting better, they're converting more, and hitting targets more consistently. So if your sales process depends on people manually following up, which most do, then this is definitely a great opportunity for AI to help out and get involved. And that's because speed to lead matters enormously. The faster we can respond back, ideally under 5 minutes, the much higher chance we have to actually close that deal. Third is marketing. And we need to be honest here because there are some varying results depending on the company. The businesses at the top have actually redesigned how they approach marketing by embedding AI within this process. Whereas the ones at the bottom are literally just plugging an AI tool in or putting it over the top of an existing process and then wondering why they don't see anything different. And the reason is there's something that's genuinely different when you get this right and redesign the marketing process around AI. You can now run the kind of personalized, consistent, highly targeted marketing of a team that's twice your size. The blank page problem that most businesses have leading to that inconsistency actually gets resolved. AI can help with everything from coming up with ideas to copywriting to generating images to generating videos to UGC or user generated content to having shorts and much, much, much more. And of course, each of these can be targeted and tailored to specific segments of your customers. So instead, your job now becomes reviewing and approving and steering the future outputs, whereas actually going through and creating everything from scratch. So now you can generate 1,000 pieces of content at high quality in the time it would have taken you to do 10. But one honest caveat to include within this is that AI marketing amplifies what's already there. So if the message isn't landing, then first we need to go through and solve that problem. Get the strategy right, get the messaging right, see what resonates with your customers, where you have the highest click-through rate, response rate, whatever it may be, market recognition, then use AI to execute at scale. Fourth is operations or back office, and this is typically the least glamorous but has the biggest impact across a business. Every business pays with what I call invisible admin tax. Every time someone manually moves data from system to system, produces a really standardized report that could be automated, or tracks down information that should already be in front of them is micro tax. And yes, it may sound like small increments day to day, but those quickly pile up over the team and over time as well. And that's where AI comes into play. AI can help mitigate and remove that tax. We can redesign processes and categories of work to be driven by AI with manual review. For example, reports are built by themselves, documents can be processed and drafted in seconds, and follow-ups can happen even without you triggering them. And what we actually find from businesses when they go through and do this audit and checking is that actually their team is buried in day-to-day admin task work versus how they can increase their capacity, doing more sales phone calls, doing more marketing material, whatever it may be, to help get those outputs that bring more business in. So now you know what's stopping most of the businesses, what the successful ones are actually doing, as well as some of the results and examples from the industry. So here's how to actually start. Step one, decide what you're actually solving for. There's two different approaches that you can take when it comes to AI. You can do the top line revenue into a business. Could there be a new offering that you put out, low cost to serve, SaaS platform, whatever it may be, to help increase the number of customers coming through? The other side of it is the bottom line cost or cost optimization. Are there places we can save time, reduce costs, or remove entire redundant processes we don't need humans to do? This answer determines which way we're going to then look at embedding and utilizing AI for the future. So you need to make sure that you get clear on this before anything else. Step two, we then want to go through and actually quantify and qualify the opportunities with the potential highest impact. Go through and look at your business week day to day. Ask different team members, what are they spending the most of the time on that's quite repetitive? Where do we lose customers or leads before we actually speak to them? And that could be the lead to cash time that can be supported by different business systems as well, which will have their own data trails. And then we can export all of this data to do some analysis, whether it be in tools like Solonis for process mining, or we can just do some manual data analysis within Excel to really identify maybe that Pareto's law, so that 80-20 principle of that 80% impact maybe actually be coming from a small inefficiency or problem within the process. And this will go through and form our opportunity map or opportunity hopper, because the answer is usually obvious once we've gone through, worked out how long we spend on this process, how often it's going to happen, the impact to the team, the loss of sales and everything else, which we cover in the opportunity identification video as well. Step three is simple. Just pick one, the one that has the highest potential value for the organization at the moment. Remember, you can break this down into short, medium, and long-term initiatives. So it may be something that I recommend is quick wins to start off with, just to build that confidence and momentum around AI. If you try to move on to 3 or 4 things from day one, you simply will become overwhelmed and most likely won't get any outputs in the future. So just find one problem and go deep on it. And then last but not least, step 4, define success and that implementation plan. Now we know what the problem is, potentially how we could actually implement AI to solve it, what does good look like at the outcome, and how we can track it moving forwards. That could be response times, revenue per lead, hours saved, or anything else that has a metric that goes up or down for us to track. And that's because if you can't measure it, you won't know if it's worked or not. Then take the time and if need be, work with us as well to implement it properly. Not 10 minutes, but think of maybe a 90-day plan where you're going through implementing the first version, you're doing the change management as well, bringing the team along for the journey, explaining maybe a new process or tool, actually training them on it, upskilling them on it, so they can actually use it from day one. And then over time, change and adjust little bits here or there to see if it helps improve the outputs in the future. Don't just set it and forget it. And that's because the businesses that are really winning with AI at the moment aren't doing anything extraordinary. They're finding one real problem, going and finding the right solution for it, and then they're actually tracking and improving it over time as well. The technology is ready. The simple question is whether your business actually is. If this has been useful, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Every video on this channel aims to answer one simple question. How and where do I use AI to actually see real results? Including strategy, governance, training, real builds, and much, much more. And if you want to move even faster, make sure to click the link in the description, come across and have a chat, and we can help you realize the goals that you've got with AI. And with that said, stay tuned for more around AI and business, and have a great day.